Coming up in the program today, analysts forecast a sharp multi-year devaluation of the Malawi Kwacha between now and 2028. Also in the program, 6 years since its groundbreaking, we take a deep dive look at the progress of the $500 million Shire Valley Transformation Project. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. Economic think tanks are warning that the Malawi Kwacha will sharply weaken against the United States dollar in the coming years, even as the official rate has stayed largely flat. The projections are ranging from the current rate of 1,749 kwacha in 2026 to 2,980 kwacha to a dollar in 2028. We spoke to officials in the financial market, and indeed James Mwinga is the General Secretary of the Financial Market Dealers Association of Malawi.
Us as Financial Market Dealers Association, FIMDA, when we look at the projections for the currency, our major concern is the current status of the reserves, because as you are aware, the reserves that we have in terms of foreign currency are below the required level for the country. The required level currently is 3 months of import cover. We are below 3 months of import cover. And this is where now all these projections that analysts are coming up with are coming from. The key issue for us is how do we improve the reserves? How to improve the reserves? We are looking at a number of strategies that are there, including the major one being production, increasing exports, because that will ultimately sort out the problems that we have as a country in terms of the reserves, and that can deal with the current pressures that the currency is actually facing.
And economist Marvin Banda weighs in his view.
The projection of the Kwacha is something that cannot be open to speculation at the current moment, because we need to be cognizant of the fact that just a couple of months ago, we had a change in government, which means policy direction is also something that we also have to take a change. And also, as we're making any projections, we need to remember that government has ensued the negotiations or started the talks for potential negotiation of a new IMF ECF program. And so what that entails is that we may not really project whether the government might decide to take a new policy stance on the exchange rate, because as you ensue any negotiations of an ECF program, we do not know whether government is going to move away from the managed exchange rate to a more flexible exchange rate, because these projections that are being made most likely have a flexible exchange rate regime that takes into consideration market forces, and which is why when they are projecting these depreciations of depreciation or devaluation of the kwacha, they're cognizant of that, because the 1751 that we see today is not something that is particularly being determined by the market per se. It is something that is managed, and it's up to the supply and demand of the US dollars to be able to back up the currency. So in saying that the currency might reach 3,000 kwacha in the next 16 to 18 months is a vote of no confidence to the policy that is being utilized right now, and also a suggestion that government is going to be under pressure to devalue. What we've always said about the kwacha is that it's not necessarily the price of the kwacha, which is in this case the value of it. It's just that the fact that we have not been able to back up this price. Demand has indeed increased for goods and services that are priced in foreign currency, whereas the supply of the kwacha in the official market is what's been deteriorated. Because if the problem of the country was a lack of forex, to so to speak, you would see that there wouldn't be any goods in the shops when we go there. We would see that exports would start to reduce, because then there would be no resources to be able to import some of these things. But yet what you see is that there are goods in the supermarkets. There are motor vehicles that are being procured by the boatload every month, breaking records on an annual basis. So what we see here is that it's just that the kwacha is in the unofficial market. And recently there have been calls to say that there has to be currency unification, which is also something that the IMF was calling for in the Article 4 consultation in 2025. However, that also has the ill-minded, or rather delinquent thought of having the kwacha lose its official value to where it is. My view is that's not the way to go about this. We need to tighten those informal actors who are having access to the official currency, which is reserved in the places where it's meant to be. Those people who are accessing this currency and externalizing it to the black market are the ones who are putting the currency under pressure. So even if you were to say that the kwacha is to slide in the next couple of months and years without actually having any changes to the issues that are causing the structural issues to the country, any potential devaluation would just be kicking the bucket down the line. There will be no improvement in the performance of the economy, because what those issues that presupposes that whenever you do change or devalue the currency, then it's going to be profitable for the economy. But our country has got structural issues that have to be resolved. We are an import-dependent nation. Our export base is narrow. The fiscal performance is extravagant, and so on and so forth. So without actually changing any of these issues, even if you devalued the kwacha to 5,000, the parallel market is not going to stand still. It's going to move on to probably 10,000. So that's why we're saying that these calls or these projections uh, that the kwacha is going to depreciate are dependent on various parameters that have not yet shown any material um, uh, manifestation at this point. And so we need to be cautious as we're doing this, because we can also bake this into market expectations. And so when we're saying that the kwacha is going to lose its value, we also have to be cognizant of the fact that the kwacha is something that is the official market, the official rate that the kwacha is being traded upon is something that is supporting a lot of people. Even though people are pricing goods and services in the black market, there are many people also who are pricing them at the official 1751 rate. And with the recent shocks to non-food inflation, which has been on account of energy costs rising, which is translated to transport costs increasing, also to electricity costs increasing. If you were to devalue the kwacha in the next couple of months, you're going to put a lot of pain and agony on the Malawians who cannot really afford to earn a living at the current point. And so we have to trade carefully as we make some of these projections. And also we have to give the correct basis in the dynamic structure that the economy is facing currently.
The Shire Valley Transformation Program, SVTP, once billed as Malawi's flagship agricultural project capable of transforming the lower Shire into a commercial farming hub, is facing fresh uncertainty as funding shortages stall critical infrastructure works. Currently, the government has gone back to development partners for additional support.
The guest we have today is quite important to the country as Malawi. He is an executive director in the African Development Bank for Southern Africa Group 1 constituency, which consists of Malawi, Zambia, Lesotho, and Mauritius. So he's the one who can assist at the African Development Bank board to actually lobby for more support for Malawi to implement quite crucial projects like this one. Yeah, this gap has come to the limelight just because, as you might remember, we had Cyclone Anna, which actually we had infrastructure that was there already, but due to Cyclone Anna, all the infrastructure was destroyed. Due to this, it meant to revisit the designs, the project designs, because of the effect of Cyclone Anna. That's how this gap came into being.
This is a great project by the Malawi government, which is going to ensure agricultural transformation in this country. So we are happy as the African Development Bank to be part of this project to support what the Malawi government is trying to do. So we really appreciate what they're trying to do with regards to just making sure that the agriculture in this country is transformed to what it is right now. Well, I mean, as in any project, I mean, things like that happen where you have to reconsider what your initial designs were, what your initial plans were, and in this case, we had a catastrophe with regard to Cyclone Anna. So it means we have to go back to it means we have to go back to the drawing board. Probably it has to be redesigns. Obviously, there have to be increased costs and things like that. So those are the things that probably the government will have to come back to us and reconsider some of those things for probably possible additional support. But our team would do that type of evaluation and then see if we can have that possible additional support. Oh, they're very, very important because I sit on the board representing Malawi. So, yeah, so I sit on the board representing Malawi. So in terms of when I come to do a site visit like this one, I basically will be appreciating what is on the ground. I'll be advocating for something that I've seen with my own eyes. So this is really important to have these site visits, so that we're not talking just from abstract, we're talking from realities.
The Deposit Insurance Corporation, DIC, says it plans to extend insurance cover to deposit-taking microfinance institutions and financial cooperatives by 2027 to broaden the coverage to more Malawians. Speaking during an awareness workshop for the Association of Business Journalists in Blantyre, DIC Director General Chitani Chigumula said there has been positive compliance from all local banks who are currently the only institutions covered. He explains.
Actually, it helps making sure there is no misinformation, or if you have heard about under information, let me just coin that word, so that we are all on the same page. Yeah, like for instance, we moved coverage from 1 million in 2025, 2026, now we are 3 million. So if a journalist is not aware that the deposit insurance has revised the coverage from 3 million from 1 million to 3 million, obviously there's a gap, and our general public, the depositors, definitely need to get updated information on deposit insurance. I would say it was a good year. It was a good year. We managed to engage our member institutions who are the banks. So as deposit insurance, obviously, we have started with the banks. And in the same year, in 2025, we also embarked on engaging what you call the non-deposit financial institutions, specifically the deposit microfinance institutions, as well as the financial cooperative circles, with a plan to onboard them. The planning is to make sure that 2027 thereabouts, they are also our member institutions, meaning to say we cover the deposits that are with the deposits taking microfinance institutions, for example, the thinkers in our space. So again, for the member institutions, our engagements, we managed to collect the premiums from them, and all of them are in the right standing with us in terms of status, as well as complying with the Deposit Insurance Corporation Act.
The Malawi Revenue Authority and the Construction Industry Regulatory Authority held talks on Tuesday with the regulator, keen to learn how the tax body manages integrity within its ranks. This raises expectations that transparency and integrity will be enhanced in the construction sector in the near future.
Actually, this meeting came about when our colleagues from CIRA sent us a request to come to visit MRA to learn, because they had heard of the success stories on our part in issues to do with integrity management. That's why we are here today. Okay, so in MRA we have the gift and hospitality policy that encourages members of staff to declare. The aim of this policy is to promote transparency and accountability from the members of staff. You have to understand, first of all, that as employees, we are mandated to serve the public, and then whatever happens, like we get the salaries at the end of the month. So the gifts are not part of it. So we don't encourage members of staff to receive gifts in the line of their duty. But sometimes, because there are other people that offer them gifts, so they accept, and we have a policy where we explain how it's supposed to be done when one has received a gift. So indeed, we have seen compliance among members of staff that have been declaring. When it comes to monetary gifts or vouchers, they are not allowed, but in case they receive, because maybe they could not say no to the one that was giving them, they usually surrender such gifts, and when they are surrendered, we use them for charity cause. So we've done a number of charity activities, like in the past 3 years, using the monies from that has been declared by officers. This is just to emphasize a point on integrity, the need for officers to be of high integrity. Our work as public officers, and especially those responsible for collecting revenue, requires that we should be accountable to the people that we are working for, who are the general public. So we already had issues of conflict of interest in our ethics and code of conduct, but the policy is coming in to just make an emphasis on the need for the officers to work diligently. So we decided to come up with this policy so that we can ensure that there is no conflict whenever they are discharging their duties. That even when they are serving people, they should serve them with a clear conscience, with a clear mind. So it is just to offer some guidelines on what they should do, or what we should do when we are in conflict, and how we should handle such cases.
At one time or another, I met the chairperson for IIC MRA. Then he was talking about lifestyle audits, whereby in our case, as CIRA, IIC, we do not practice, or we do not take that activity. So I was very much encouraged and interested in that. Then I thought of coming here to learn more, so that we, as the IIC at CIRA, also practice. We have done a lot. For us to be number 2 nationwide, that means we have done something. We call it perception index. Generally, we have for the world, Africa, Malawi, and maybe I can say CIRA as such. It is going down, because this is being manifested by, we call it stakeholders survey, whereby we ask our stakeholders to give us a feedback on what actually we are doing. Now, that is going down. At least we score internally, that is over 83%, which means we are at least doing something. In general, in construction industry, we have done a lot because we check or monitor all projects in Malawi. And our colleagues, known as monitors, they do the checking, whereby we ourselves, as IIC members, we also follow and see what actually they are doing. As I'm saying, some people have lost jobs because of conflict of interest, which is at least a message to even the MDAs, ministries, as well as agencies of the government. And we are not confined to Syria only. We are open to each and every sector. We can come in and assist.
With that item, we've come to the end of today's edition of Business Time here on Times Television. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Chimwemwe Mangazi. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.